All right, we're set. All meetings over. 7:31.
Yes, 7:31. Okay, Ruben Arguelles,
Present.
Sam Budlong,
Present.
Angela De La Fuerte,
Here.
Gisela Soberon. Here. Marcelino Sololongo.
Here.
And Patrice Morales, present.
Okay, I just got a text from a friend that lives on the lake, Martha. And she says, I asked her, do you think that the fountain system installed in your lake has improved the quality of the water? And he says, yes, absolutely. Whatever they have been doing has really helped. And they had even those trees that grows in.
Yeah, that's the word growth.
Yeah, she says that, yeah, whatever they have been doing has been, that's really.
Are the same guys that were treating our lake treat theirs lake too? Sorry, I know. Forget it, sorry. go ahead.
I get into.
Forget about it.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
All right, let's go order of business. Proposed additions, deletions.
So I propose a lot of the stuff has already been talked about in the last meeting back in March. Especially new business would probably fall under old business now. The aeration proposal, for example, was discussed. Quarterly chair meeting, quotes for the iguanas, and the budget and elections have all been discussed. I'd like to propose if for you guys to decide to kind of defer them. Or at least move them to old business.
I second.
Guess it's-
As long as it goes into
it's all old business, yeah.
Yeah, I second.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, because a lot of this stuff is
Probably.
like elections, you know, we're the only ones that come.
Yeah.
You know, it's your point.
Secondly, I'd like to propose for you to decide on if you'd like to discuss the voting that was discussed by the council on how NSD voting will take place going forward on any capital improvement projects.
Wait, say that again.
Can you elaborate, please?
Yeah, so the council voted on a new format for voting on capital improvement projects. So I could go ahead and share that with you if you guys want.
Yeah,
You could add that to new business, right?
Yeah. I would need for you guys, of course, to vote on it, of course. Is there?
Yes.
I
approve it.
Motion to,
Second.
Perfect, there we go. Is there anything else that you guys would like to
Yes,
add or?
John, so I have a couple of people in the area that have issues with something. I don't know if that would go under new business or would that go under like public comments. It's not really a comment, I just want some information on some rules.
I see here that you have advisory report on lake condition. I guess that would be an appropriate time to talk about it.
Sir, can we keep talking about the lake condition? I'd like to, because.
Sure. We'll get,
Yeah,
Yeah.
don't put it in the back burner because we have seen significant progress, but it's been over a long time. It's so slow. We have been meeting for at least 3 years now, right?
Yeah, please.
Yeah, but the progress is so slow. And I was walking along the shore today, and it looks exactly the same way it looked last year at this time. I know it was a hot summer, but I expect that as we go from year to year to see some improvements.
okay, we'll add it. We'll add it to, we'll keep it on old business.
Yeah, that's the first line of all business.
Okay, perfect. As far as taking some of this stuff off of old business, that needs to be a motion for that too,
Yeah,
okay? Because I mean, right now, fish stocking maintenance, we already talked about that. Unless there's any other issues with unauthorized activity on the beach, I think we have still issues with that.
But what,
If I may, I'm sorry,
No,
you said we talked about fish stocking.
on the last one, I think we had gotten all the fish, didn't we?
we never did it, did we?
Oh, we never did it because we didn't want to stock in November. They wanted to stock in the spring.
Okay, so let's just leave everything there.
In the spring, we didn't want it.
Yeah.
We can do
supposed to be in the spring.
it. Okay, oh, all right, missed that.
okay.
How about the floating devices? We
I
need to-
think we still have issues with that, right, Sam?
Oh, most definitely.
Okay, yeah, we'll just keep everything the same, so let's. If everything is, you guys want to add anything else, or? We'll go on to the
No, I guess.
Public comments? Do we have any public comments?
There any public comments?
Okay.
Nobody's on the Zoom.
They can't make public comments through the Zoom.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it would have to be in person.
I see.
Okay, so.
What would constitute, give me an example if you would, what would constitute a public comment?
During public comments, anyone that comes to one of these meetings, anybody is welcome to come to these meetings and sit in the chairs behind you. And during public comments, they have 3 minutes to present to you. Public comments on whatever pertaining to the meetings.
Speaking of that, I know it's not part of anything here, but I know there was a couple of issues with dates on the meeting and back and forth, but I didn't receive the letter for the meeting, the agenda. Was there a reason for that? Did you get it? Or maybe I was didn't get it?
You're talking about the one I just passed out?
Yeah, the one we usually get a letter in the mail to
Yeah.
notify the residents of.
In case they wanna come.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a flyer.
There's one that's supposed to be mailed out to all the residents so they can attend.
You're talking about the budget meetings that was sent.
No,
No.
every board, every NSD meeting, there's a letter mailed out.
where the public can come in and make their own. Yeah,
Uh,
It's in our
10
budget, it's
days
in our
or
budget
15
to
days
send it
before the
out.
meeting.
Just wanna know if it was, what,
It was not sent out as for, I do apologize
No, that's
if that
fine.
was,
I thought I was the only one, I just wanna make sure.
no, and I'll make a note of that, that is part of. Okay, the process. I apologize for
No,
that.
that's fine, thank you, John.
I think if you go back, I think it's done like 10 or 15 days before the meeting, so they,
So letters in the mail notifying the public
Right.
of the upcoming meeting. And since we're speaking on that already, I know that I've sent various emails on it, but just to confirm. So I've set up these meetings to be quarterly on already pre-planned as well. So maybe something to consider is I can go ahead and send it out. It's being posted now on the Miami Laker because we're making these notified in advance. So something to consider for the future as well is if you want to continue to do those letters or, maybe one letter to budget wise, sending one letter and having those dates already set up on it.
And may I add also that I would prefer that they be a little bit earlier than 7:30.
Yeah, I guess we could talk about that. Do you wanna talk about that now, or?
Yeah, we could add it to new business and discuss scheduling. You'd have to open up back to, do you have a,
Go ahead, Sam.
you want to make a motion to?
I want to talk about it.
Yeah, okay, motion to add scheduling the times and dates on meetings for new business.
Okay, I propose a motion to schedule the new meetings, time and place.
I'll second it.
All right.
before we were doing what, 6 and 6:30, something like that.
That
Yeah,
Yeah,
suits me a little bit better than 7:30.
yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
We'll talk about it when we get to it. I'll inform you what my decision making was on that.
Okay, no, that's fine. That's fine.
can I make a statement? On your emails, when you send out the emails, can you include everybody in the same email?
I'm not allowed to. I have to send it, everyone is BCC. Because you're not supposed to have conversations out on anything lake maintenance NSD related outside of our meetings here. So I cannot do that.
Well, yeah, I guess the only thing, like I had said, I wasn't confirmed that it was, the meeting was coming. I know I said I could come, but I didn't know everybody else could come.
Right.
So usually we're just used to someone saying,
Yeah, it's
Okay,
nice.
there's a
so
quorum.
Sometimes they'll say like, hey,
Sometimes
we're
everybody-
short or we're
Yeah.
not, so that, because it's happened to me before. I've come and
Yeah.
we're
Nobody
short
here.
and,
yeah,
Reason I didn't was just, I mean, we'll get to it all and scheduling and stuff, but the reason I didn't was. I had gotten confirmation from everybody individually that they were planning on attending, so I wasn't worried. We were so. We had 100%, we have 100%, so wasn't worried about it. But I'll make sure going forward to send out, and I apologize for that. I'll send
No,
out
It's okay, it's just,
ahead of time to let you know that you have quorum and
Yeah.
3 hours.
Yeah.
yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
What I'll do is the day before, I'll go ahead and send out the agenda and requesting for everyone to reply to the email, letting you know that we have quorum, even though, because we had rescheduled it on mobile.
It was supposed to be on Tuesday, man, you changed it to Thursday.
Yeah.
If the meetings are quarterly, might I suggest that they be sent a week before rather than the day before?
Well, that's what I had done for the previous one. For last Tuesday, we were supposed to have a meeting, but it felt it conflict issues as far as with the council meeting. We're not allowed to have this meeting during council meeting.
That was an emergency council meeting or something like that.
Right.
We want to approve the minutes, look over the minutes.
Make a motion to approve the minutes.
Second it.
All right. Old business, advisory report on lake conditions. So we had received a few complaints about algae, specifically in Lake Hilda blooming. And so we contacted Solitude, which is the vendor that takes care of the lake, and they went by today actually to go take a look. It appears that people may have been confusing algae with seeds falling from the trees. And I have pictures as well that I can pass around. So it looks like it was just seeds, it wasn't algae, but he did go out there to do a pH testing, came back at 7.5. You'll have it there in your hands. We obviously want to keep that closer to 7.4 because that's the closer it is, the better, as far as acidity and everything. So came back good. The lake is in good condition.
The one thing, when he just sprays the shoreline. I think we had talked before about him dropping pellets on the shoreline during the summer. Like a time release type thing, and that would address what you're talking about, that it's still there. I mean, it's 100% better, but we still got a long way to go. So we gotta make sure that he's gonna do that. If he's not, see why or whatever.
Okay, yeah, I mean, John, if you can see how that works,
I could definitely look into that as far as how the process that we're doing it. So you're suggesting to that he should be dropping pellets.
My understanding was that he was gonna do that, on the shoreline.
And I'll go ahead and confirm that they're doing it as they're supposed to. So yeah, okay, absolutely.
Are we doing the treatment every other week?
So it's every 2 weeks cycle. However, today's that was because I had received the complaint about the algae. We felt like it was important to go ahead and make sure. So today's was off cycle, but he'll be back next week around Thursday of next week as well.
We've been talking about Lake Hilda. I'll comment on Lake Patricia that I think the lake condition has been very good. We're right at the end of the summer and the heat, and the algae. In the past, I've been taking photographs to show how bad the algae was, and I didn't take a single photograph this year. That isn't to say there wasn't any algae, but it just wasn't.
yes,
Yeah.
definitely better. It's definitely better. I mean, it peaked like maybe sometime in August, there might have been, that blanket cover, whatever, but
Yeah.
it was minimal and went away. It was definitely improved. And this was the summer we were really waiting to see, because it was the
And it's
first time that we had a real good treatment, or
Right,
the better
I
treatment.
think it was a full year of the two.
Yeah, of the 2 times, and the combination.
I'm glad you commented that, because I wanted that to address Giselle's comments also about how long it's taken, because I think we've been about a year now with relatively good conditions. So out of the 3 years that you mentioned, maybe it was those first 2 years we were really trying to get things underway. And now we're in the third year and things have really kicked in and we're seeing good results out of it.
Yeah.
I agree
I
that it will progress significantly, but my son lives on Lake Catherine, and every time I go there, it's such a big difference.
Well, I think the,
Lake Catherine is black.
No. No, it's blue.
There was a dead body there that took weeks for them to find. That was the issue.
Actually, no, I don't kid about that
No,
because
it's
there was a murder there.
Right.
yeah,
I'm really sure.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Sure,
right. But I think,
But I don't think it's dark. I don't think so. I go there and it's bluer than ours. But I will take the blue and the quality is so clear and so clean. You don't see a grass, you don't
Yeah.
see algae. I mean, it's
Well,
so
we're
clean.
trying, and I know.
And it's
Crystal-
swimmable. People swim in it.
and I know that it was that way when I moved in, so I'm hoping that it's just, we're seeing progress. I'm just hoping that in another year, maybe,
Yeah.
We'll be.
I mean, yeah, remember the guy, not only the frequency we changed, but I don't know what his title was, the guy we talked to on the phone all the time.
Science guy.
It's science guy, biology guy, whatever.
Bill
He-
Nye.
Yeah, that guy.
Yeah, he, I don't know if you were here when we talked to him, but, he came out and he looked and he changed the formula, right? He changed the formula and I felt confident with his knowledge base and experience that, and it seems to maybe the two things, the frequency and the formula change, made a difference. So maybe it'll take time. The other thing is, the two bodies of water are like two different people to
Yeah.
me. And I don't think we can compare apples to apples.
Well, I know
I
that
don't-
as
I don't
bad as
think-
Patricia was, Hilda was worse than ours, than theirs.
Yeah.
So maybe
Yeah.
it's just, you guys are almost
But
there. maybe.
what I've noticed lately is that we don't have the color. I don't know how often he's supposed to do
Oh,
it,
the blue dye.
but there's no blue dye in it now.
So I confirmed with him, with the vendor today that goes and works on the lake, he is putting blue dye. He put, as a matter of fact, he just put last week, and the dye that he is using is
Supposed to be food coloring.
McCormick.
blue Kuro pond dye concentrate. That is the formula that he is using for it to be midnight blue. So that also could be a reason why it's a little darker than Lake Catherine, as you pointed out. We're using midnight blue as opposed to what they may be using, which it could be a lighter shade.
No, it's the other way around. It's the other way around.
Okay. They're
Ours
using
is not blue. I mean, I don't see much blue. now.
but you're saying theirs is dark clear or
And
dark?
Catherine is bluer and it's so clear. I mean, you can see a little rock, tiny rock if you go down. Of course, if you go to the middle of the lake, it's another story because it's very deep.
It depends on how long it's been since he put it in. I mean, it dissipates over time, but
Yeah.
where I've seen it off my house is 6 feet plus deep, 6 to 8 feet deep, and I could see a quarter on the bottom if it was there. A school of fish went by this weekend and they were clear as day. The water quality was very, visibility was very good.
Yeah, it depends on the depth, of course, and obviously the shade may help if we were to change it. I think.
Well, he's supposed to be checking the water to see the amount of dye in it.
Right.
And I know Hilda right now, it went down quite a bit.
Was
Because,
he-
I mean,
was
you
he
don't
just
see the blue
there
at all.
Yes,
He dropped dye today?
no,
Oh,
didn't put today because
that was just a quick.
today was just off cycle,
Yeah.
but he had put last week, and he's gonna put again the following week that's coming out
He did it last week where
in both.
both
both
lakes.
lakes.
I doubt that they're able to do that throughout the entire lake. They have to pick spots and hope that it
It's
spreads.
supposed to go around,
Yeah.
and, you know, kind of do it all over.
Yeah, normally it goes around.
Mhm.
That's something I could look into as far as, how much, actually, I think he had mentioned, and I did write it down, how much he was putting.
Yeah, because you're supposed to do it by, getting a water sample and then seeing how much dye is in it.
So he's putting 12 quarts per month of blue dye treatment per month. So 6 and 6.
That's low right now, Bill.
We won't need so much of it in the winter time, but
Right.
because the
Yeah.
rays are not as close to.
Yeah.
I do find that this year, there was I spent a lot of time outside and mosquitoes were crazy this year. I don't know if that has anything to do with the maintenance of the lake. But the mosquitoes were,
I don't
Terrible this
notice
year.
mosquitoes as much as those little white gnats. Those little
Well, that-
swarms.
Yeah,
What are those? I
well,
don't even
if
know
we
what
get
that's
done with
called.
this part, we can move on, because I had someone that wanted to talk about that too, because.
So I'll follow up and I'll look into it. I did meet with him today at the lake and, I plan on being there again on Friday. And,
Okay.
or Thursday of next week, and I'll look into how much he's putting and, maybe over these next couple of weeks and months into the next meeting that we have, we'll see some change and,
And if you could ask them if we've always done midnight blue, maybe that change.
yeah, I can absolutely follow up on that as well.
Yeah, so moving on to, I got a couple complaints also, like, as far as Patrice is talking about. So I found out that they're called midges. It's like a type of like little fly,
Yeah,
and I know that we've had them often, but never as well.
they're
yeah,
thick swarming. I mean, you can't walk outside and open your mouth. So bad. I mean, swarms, just at dusk. You get them? Just at dusk. I mean,
Well,
There-
that's something we call Dade County mosquito control and have them spray.
Well, so I did some research and it could be, it definitely has to do with the lake. It has to do with the water.
because I was looking at here, it says mosquito and midge control, so I don't know if that has anything.
I tell you what, I mean, in the past, there was always a little of that, but this year's huge amount. I mean, huge swarms. The whole, my windows are covered in them, my front door, everything. You open the door and they just coming in. They're little like white,
They look like mosquitoes, but they're light.
yeah,
They don't bite, they don't do nothing.
yeah, no, they're just like little gnats.
Could be like a white fly, maybe.
So I mean, there's, while you're talking about the dye and some of the things we were talking
Oh,
about.
ask them about-
Ask them about.
Yeah, the midge
you know,
control.
If there's something in the water.
If there's something that they're putting or they can put for me.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
For especially mosquitoes.
For mosquitoes as well, yeah.
And the midge, yeah. Mosquitoes, I didn't notice as much, but,
And I'm sure it gets worse during the summer, obviously.
Yeah.
yeah,
Well, the mosquitoes, yeah, but actually the midges come more around this time of year, because I know that all my decorations, every time I have to put them
Yeah.
away, I have to shake them off,
yeah,
but never as bad as this year. This year.
yeah,
a lot of
definitely,
shaking.
a lot of it, definitely, she can't even open the door, it just. To get to the car, I'm like this. It's
Yeah, I've
bad,
seen that.
you know? Yeah, it's really weird.
And that's happening more so in Lake Hilda,
We're on Lake
Oh,
Patricia.
Lake
Have you
Patricia.
noticed this, White?
We have
It's not-
Just a lot of
We're
mosquitoes.
on Lake Patricia.
Lake Patricia, Lake Hilda.
That-
Okay,
Those are-
good to
Yeah, yeah,
to differentiate.
Yeah, they wanna, if you wanna call me one day when they're there and they wanna come by.
oh, you can just
Absolutely.
pull up to my door, they're covering.
It's more on the dusk time.
Yes,
What I'm also gonna do is I'm gonna start sending whenever he is going out. I'll go ahead and send you guys an email and let you know exactly what time he's going out. So that you guys are aware if you ever want to pop your head out and.
Well, we have caught the guy doing a shortcut, like not going down to the end of the finger, just cutting across the end of the
Okay.
stuff, so. We were getting the times when he was coming or the days. And if we happened to be outside drinking coffee, we could watch and do it,
Or can
And
You
watch-
have my number
watch
now and you
it
have my
take-
email, so if you ever see that, please bring it to my attention. Okay,
you can watch
Yeah,
it
he's
take-
supposed to be giving us a credit
Oh, yeah.
when it happened last time.
okay, I'll look into it.
No, it's not. All right,
Okay,
so we'll move on to unauthorized activities on the beach. Been pretty quiet on Patricia, I can say.
yeah, well,
Have
with
the
the,
right view.
with the sign and then the barrier, the new sidewalk thing, that little corner place,
Yeah.
nobody's there
all-
anymore, yeah.
Yes.
The curb that they put. Yeah,
Hard things, we still, you guys are still having that.
That's-
The beach by the school,
Yeah.
you just can't keep people from fishing. No matter how many signs you put up,
Yeah.
they'll stand right next to the sign and fish.
yeah. You know,
And they're not locals,
No, none of them are.
because local kids, you'll see them come up on a bicycle or
yeah,
their parents will bring a little kid or something. These are, kids coming out from other areas. Or adults.
As long as they're not, I guess, as long as they're not taking fish. Because that's the problem we were having on Patricia, they were
Yeah.
taking the fish.
I know it's probably random times, but do you know more or less like the usual, like, do you have any usual suspects that are usually out there?
No, it's,
I will try to,
and we have
try to
no,
drive by there a few times.
we have no law that says you can't, or you're gonna be fined or ticketed.
Right,
So,
okay,
I mean, we can call the PD and they'll come out and tell them to stop and say, hey, where does it say the law that I can't? It's a public beach and,
And I think the last time we had a meeting, we asked Jeremy about that, and he was gonna get back to us.
yeah, you're supposed to check with PD and see.
He was
what-
gonna check to see like as far as what it would take to make one of those. Ordinances or. Laws.
I don't know that it's correct to say that, that's
Fish
public
and
beach.
wildlife, right? Yeah,
And we've even had people bring a boat, put it in there.
I mean, that's what riparian rights are all about. The center of the lake is not owned by individuals. In the past, it was owned by Miami-Dade County. It's not, I don't think it's right to say that the shorelines are public property. I may be wrong on the plot where a beach is. I'm not
I
100%
think,
sure.
well, most of us, I think on our plots, we go out to the water like 25
Correct.
feet.
Absolutely.
Mm.
There is a separate division where a beach is, and I just don't
Yeah.
know.
no, I
What's the
think
title
the
to
beach
that?
part is okay, but I think the taking of fish is where the thing is made. I never call when they're fishing, I call PD when I see them taking the fish. Like put them in a cooler.
Yeah,
That's when I have a problem. I mean, I don't mind kids fishing. I mean, I know they're not supposed to, but I'm not gonna. I was a kid once too, but you're gonna take my fish? No, that's it.
you're crossing the line.
Yeah. Okay, we got future considerations, but we're gonna,
so I'm sorry, just before we move on, I'm gonna go ahead and look into this with
Okay.
Jeremy and double check if, what were the results of him talking with PD, and also follow up and see if there is anything that can be done.
awesome,
Okay,
yeah,
so I will get back to you on that. And once I have an answer, I'll email you all. Okay,
thank you.
On the future considerations. I know that in the new business, there's space for quotes for removal of geese, ducks, and iguanas. May I introduce something in future considerations about geese, ducks, and iguanas that does not have to do with a quote?
No, I just when we get to new business. right?
I mean, it's future consideration, so yeah.
Yeah,
if you want.
Okay.
This is your,
I thought we were supposed to get a bid on it.
That's what it apparently indicates that we're waiting on quotes for it. It's been I wouldn't call it a pet peeve, but it's been a concern of mine for decades, the invasive species of Muscovy ducks, Egyptian geese, and now iguanas. And I work in a realm where I receive constant news feeds from around the world. And I've gathered together numerous articles that talk about invasive species cost humans $423 billion each year and threaten the world's diversity. The true damage of invasive alien species was just revealed in a landmark report. Here's how we must act. That goes through the United Nations. Invasive species increased at unprecedented rates. What you need to know. Invasive species are costing the global economy billions, study finds. That doesn't say that these taken to Muscovy ducks and Egyptian geese and iguanas, but it does address some of the science behind what invasive species can do to a geography. So I want to bring this in to maybe heighten everybody's awareness of what invasive species mean, and perhaps communicate that to the town council, who I believe are the ones that have the authority to show whether they want to stand up and do something about this or not. I understand that animal rights activists are an issue for them to decide whether they want to bother those feathers. But there are some realities here that they should be aware of if they choose to do it or not. So that's.
Where they do a lot of damage, it's destroying all my fruit.
Most definitely, most
I
definitely.
mean, my avocados, my mangoes and my other trees, all, I mean. I can never get to the fruit, it's short.
And the poop on the dock.
Correct. I mean, and there are any number of things in my opinion, you can say.
And the iguanas used to be on 5-7, now
Oh,
they're
yeah.
all the way in Hilda, all the
Oh,
way
yeah.
to our house.
I was telling my granddaughter, who isn't familiar with Lake Patricia, that in decades past, mallards would come here from Canada. They haven't been here for
No,
You know,
Years.
long time.
30 years. And they were
I haven't seen them in
beautiful
about
mallards.
10, 12
They didn't-
years.
yeah, they were cute. Too. Oh, beautiful. That's one of the effects of invasive species. Just one thing. But,
Yeah, those Egyptian geese are aggressive, so I'm sure.
I'm willing to provide these as part of the record for what we discussed tonight, so that it is an official exclamation of concern. If these should be kept with the secretary as part of the minutes, that's okay by me.
Okay,
So what would be your motion to?
So this is under future considerations, and my future considerations are that we pursue aggressively the quote, which is, we've already discussed, that should be pursued aggressively, and that we should engage the town council if needed to extend our concern, because if we take care of Lake Patricia and Lake Hilda, there's still the rest of Miami Lakes where they will migrate from to us again. And it'll be continuing a cycle, so it's a bigger problem than just our two lakes that could involve the town.
Is that a
council.
motion?
I'd be happy to make it a motion.
Then I'll second it, and I think that ought to be sent to the town council to address in their next meeting.
Great idea.
And then they can send us back some feedback.
So why don't, so to do this properly, let's, you could make the motion to provide those documents to the town council.
Okay, I make a motion that these citations of invasive species be provided to the town council. That's sufficient.
I'll second.
Awesome.
And now that it's been, the motion has been made. And could you send that to me via email?
Sure, sure.
And then I will go ahead and provide it to the town council.
Perfect.
And once I hear anything back, I will.
you know, and I think it needs to be also considered almost possibly separately. Now, I would imagine there's a lot of feedback and resistance with the ducks. However, that's why I think if the ducks are gonna be difficult for them to address, the iguanas need to be looked at separately. Maybe they're not as, people are not as sensitive to them, because those, I have watched those things where I used to live. Within like 10 years, just 100-fold. And now we've had a couple years now, at least 3 years maybe or so, of them starting in our lake. And I know it's gonna happen. I already know. I've seen it. I watched it from Celebration Point. And they just multiply like crazy. I mean, the ducks, they don't multiply, they do, but I mean, they don't seem to survive or just grow mass and mass and mass. But those, they just keep, you know.
Exponential.
Yeah, exponential, yeah, and they're really. That's really bad, so, you know, my point is that. Almost to look at them separately to be addressed in a way, in case, you know, the duck issue is too sensitive to, you know, address, but maybe the iguanas are not.
Focus on the iguana.
You know what I'm saying? I don't know, I'm just, because I know there'll be a lot of pushback from, you know, people who are in favor of the animals and what have you. But maybe not so much the iguana.
Well, the problem is Muscovies cannot be relocated, so they're done away
Mm-hmm. Right,
with, and that's
Right.
that's where they get all upset.
yeah,
But the iguanas, and the Keys, we had a guy that we, on a contract to come by twice weekly
yeah.
to shoot him,
Mhm.
and we still couldn't control him. I mean, it's unbelievable.
Well, that's the thing. You know. Once it starts, if it gets too far out of control in the area, forget it. I mean, I don't know how many we have now.
And
It's not
they'll
as
eat
bad.
everything from tree, the bushes, you know,
Yeah,
somebody told us, oh, buy protons, so we put protons. Guess what? When we came back the following week, it was nothing but sticks. They'll eat everything. But
I'll provide this. This is from the Florida Fish and Wildlife Commission, and I'm gonna read a couple of segments of it on the point of Muscovy ducks. One says, under the caption, legal options to take Muscovy ducks. Muscovy ducks can be taken by use of a firearm on private property during daylight hours with landowner permission. I'm not gonna read on to the rest of it, but it also says Muscovy ducks can be removed using humane methods of live capture, typically by using nets or cage traps, blah, blah, blah. And this, again, is from, I consider it an authority, the Florida Fish and Wildlife Commission. They do make reference to the federal laws. There's a federal control order concerning Muscovy ducks. But I consider this to be the official guideline for how to address Muscovy ducks.
that's good.
Yeah,
this is
we always
available online.
thought that it could have been,
It's from them.
right, that's.
You know, that's it.
I have made further inquiries. For example, what's the definition of humane when you kill a duck? And I've been told bullet to the head is okay. So if you're a good aim and you have good ammunition with a legal firearm and it's on your property, you're okay. That's what they're saying. I don't think that anybody wants that blasted around in the public.
No,
But-
but it was, I mean, the iguana stuff was blasted recently because, you know, it became, you know, something popular recently, like about a year ago, when everybody was talking about it. But I didn't know
Yeah.
with Scobie, you could actually do that also. Because
Yeah.
you know, it's good. So, I mean, we hit a little bit of something last time with Jeremy, but if you can just follow up to see, because I think he was trying to see if this company also did something, but we'd rather see if the commission can do it, because it's true what Sam says. It doesn't make sense to just take care of Hills and Patricia and all the leaves around us and. You know,
Yeah, it would be something that would be.
it'd have to be like,
Down
One other thing I'll read from this is all euthanized birds must be disposed of by burial or incineration. So that's all. Cemetery in your backyard.
Grill.
Or a fire pit.
I'll tell you about that. I asked the University of Florida Extension down in Homestead years ago about Muscovy ducks, and their response was they make good Peking duck. They're
Wow.
perfectly fine to eat.
A couple of years ago, I was in Utah skiing. I walked by a restaurant, looked in the glass, and they have a Scobie duck.
No.
Oh, my God.
Oh, my God.
Talking about eating a
Kinds of
grease ball.
shit, but
Exactly.
maybe we have an
Your
opportunity
culture.
here.
There's a restaurant in northern Broward that caters to, I don't know whether it's Vietnamese or what, but there's a whole section in the cooler where it's one after the other of a duck. A whole row of dead ducks there that people take instead of chickens or what have you.
Iguanas could be the appetizer.
Right.
There you go. Feed the poor.
People like them. Yeah.
Okay, any other future consideration? No.
Yeah, the fountain. Our
Fountain?
fountains.
Yeah, we were supposed to get bids on the aerators or fountains or whatever you wanna call them. Do we have any bids come in on that?
I know that you guys got something back in December of last year.
Oh,
And from what I saw was 27,900 back then
For each unit?
per unit. It would be per the entire system per lake.
I think, yeah, 22, I think what I wrote here was 22,761 for Lake Patricia.
The whole system was 27,000.
Oh, okay.
I know Patricia was a little more because it's a little bigger.
Yeah, okay.
So would the fountain be cheaper than the aerator?
I don't think
I'd
so.
have to look into it.
That quote is for a fountain
I
or
think
aerator.
Aerator.
Just that
That
area.
was aerator.
But
Okay.
Yeah,
keep in mind that this is from December of last year. Numbers probably changed.
Oh, yeah, so all going up,
It
right?
was,
So we have to get a new quote at this point.
No, that's fine.
At least we
We're
have a general.
coming into the budget. We'll have to think about maybe putting in something to start raising some funds in order to pay for it.
Right.
Raise it $10, $5, whatever, you know. Come up with some number.
I think we were gonna, well, again, this meeting was back in March, and I haven't, you said that you recently went by, and you go by. But I'd like to talk to someone or a few people on Lake Martha to see how. If they've noticed like, oh man, you gotta do it, it's a huge difference, or if it's like. You know.
Yeah.
it's
Oh,
not
this
expensive.
friend of mine, and she's, I trust her. No doubt whatsoever, and she's a very smart person, she's a retired teacher,
Okay,
and she said that, yeah, whatever. She doesn't know all the technical details, but she knows the change has been significant.
Is she on the lake committee there?
No,
No,
I don't think they have one.
they don't have one?
I don't think they,
And how long have they had that now?
about a year, maybe?
Something about it.
Every two, then.
We just don't know how much that would cost in comparison.
Someone told us at one time, one of the meetings, that it was like,
80,000 or
yeah,
something.
close to
Okay.
80,000.
It was ridiculous.
It was,
yeah,
Oh, that's
more
great.
expensive than what.
Well, that's a lot more expensive.
yes, it is more expensive.
Wow.
Is that because it's constantly,
Yeah, but aren't these things, I mean,
They don't run.
this is
them all
1,
the
2,
time.
3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 of these underwater things. That aren't they constantly moving too?
Yeah,
I would assume so.
And then how are the electrical supply the same as
I
the
think-
like this would
I
be?
don't know, I think Martha is solar powered.
Oh, or do-
They do have electricity, because I have another friend that is next to where the electrical box is. And she was asked permission to put the box in there, and she said, that's not mine, it's not in my property, but it's very close to her property. Yeah, they use some electricity.
That must be
Do
on
you
a
have
timer
more
or something.
information, John?
On the,
On the last quote, maybe you guys wanna get a quote for the next meeting, just to see where we're at and see if we wanna start budgeting for it?
you could make a motion for that.
I think we had reached out to Martha to get information or something, and I don't know if we got it back or not.
No. You
wanna do a
wanna do
motion?
that first? You wanna get some information on Mark?
I think,
What you could do is you could make a motion to get a quote for a new quote. Within a year, over a year now, for the aeration systems. As well as a quote for the fountain. And then compare. And then at that point, once we have numbers, then reach out to like Martha and kind of compare. And decide if that's something that. You know,
I mean, she just sent it, it's that,
Yeah, I know, it's pretty. I mean,
and she says that it is a working rate.
you'd also have to decide how you want to. Add it to the budget, how do you guys want to elect it to add to the budget, right, for that?
It might take more than 1 year, if we're gonna go with something very expensive like this.
well, if you don't collect it, you know, like few dollars every year.
Yeah.
The other thing would be as an assessment. And you,
Special assessment.
yeah,
Yeah, that would be
you
more
probably have everybody going up in arms. At
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Even though they would love it at the end,
No one's overwhelmed.
And
Don't we have like, if we don't use certain amount of money for our lake maintenance, it goes into like a savings account or something?
well, that's what happened. We did the second spraying
Yeah,
with the extra money. That's what, when we had extra money, everybody said, hey,
We still
let's
have.
take the extra money and use it for the
And we
second
still get a
round.
little bit, we still have a little bit left over, but nothing to the tune of $30,000, that's for sure. I think we always got it for like maybe $5,000-6,000.
Yeah, that's about what
Yeah.
it was. It was enough to do like through the summer or something.
all of this is stuff we're gonna talk about as well, when we talk about capital improvement voting from the council, so.
So let's go ahead and
So to confirm, there was no motion to go ahead.
you want to do a motion to get a quote on the fountain?
on to.
I know.
Yeah, let's do that. I'll second it.
Yeah, we should do our homework before we decide, look at all the options.
Hey, John, I'll make a motion just to get another quote for Hilda, Tricia, on the aerations and fountains.
I'll second it.
Just to have-
Hopefully,
Let's separate the motion, so let's do the first one on the aeration,
Oh, okay, you can, okay.
so go ahead, I'm sorry.
A motion for a quote on aerations on Hilda and Patricia.
There's a second,
second.
And a motion.
all of you, all
We're all in favor.
in favor?
All
in favor.
opposed?
I'm opposed.
Motion passed.
I'm opposed.
We got one opposed.
One opposed. And then you want
And
to
then
do
a
the second,
motion for the fountains.
motion for both.
Cool, correct.
Can you just repeat it one more time? For the record,
The
and
second,
it's continuing, yeah,
okay, motion to get a quote for fountains on Lake Patricia and Lake Hilda. There's a second,
Second.
okay. All opposed? One opposed?
Okay.
Okay. We're going into this stocking now, so I was unaware of that I must have missed that last meeting because I wasn't aware that I thought they had.
Was it done?
it was not done.
It was not done.
Not done in this past fiscal year. Maybe it's gonna carry forward, we can do it in this year. And I believe the conversation that was made was, to stock large baths.
Yeah. I know we talked about that, but so we're gonna be two stocking behind. Have they been charged? You haven't been charged for anything?
Why don't we go ahead and do it?
Just-
I know we were waiting for March because it's supposed to spawning or whatever. I don't know.
Yeah, spring.
Oh, we were waiting.
Spring,
I
yeah.
wasn't aware. I
Well,
thought-
that's why we waited to do
I
it.
thought it was the company that was.
No, it was recommended the best time to.
It was recommended to do it.
And it never happened.
Says,
So, is it that big a difference to get it done now? I mean,
If the recommendation was, then I don't recall the
Yeah,
specific
right.
rationale for it.
yeah, that's what the guy says, or,
But if they put in a lot of small fish and we get a cold snap. A lot of fish are gonna die. That's why they said in the spring.
I think we should follow whatever the recommendation was. If we don't.
If,
recall the
if
business,
they
I'm sure they'll
stock
tell
the
us.
fish now with a lot of little fish. And we get a really cold snap in December, in the 30s or something like that. I mean, it's happened before where in the winter, we've gotten a lot of, especially the peacock bass are floating. Cause it got too cold.
okay, then. Let me say this, I'll make a motion that we go ahead and enter into a contract for a payment to do X amount of dollars come April or March and stock the fish. Have it already ready and then hit it when it comes.
Well, let me ask you this, Angel, is there, and you also assume maybe we can make the motion. If we didn't get charged for a payment this year, would it be?
It
too
would
much-
carry over.
Would it be too much to do like a huge stocking of fish?
Like
next
double
year?
stocking?
Double tap it, yeah.
I'd have to look into it, but I don't,
It's not gonna change our budgets when we pay for it.
it's also possible that they could do two separate ones near the same time, so do one stocking.
We can do
that's
one,
owed and-
one of big mouth and one of something else.
Right.
Yeah, we'll see what's available and, bluegills or whatever and.
Bluegills help with the mosquitoes.
Yeah,
you're
I know
having-
bluegills help with the mosquitoes, but
So. If you can, what is your motion?
That we pre-stage a purchase order for April 1st of fish stocking.
April Fool's Day.
Yeah, why not? That's the day I got my marriage license. I never forget that.
Classic.
For April 1st.
Right.
Is there a second?
Or thereabouts.
I'll second. I'll second.
I'm seeing this like-
Oh.
Oh, in favor?
Okay.
Yeah.
Opposed? Motion passed.
And this would be purchase order for two.
Well, we have to see how much money we have.
Okay.
And then we gotta see what the cost of the fish is, because the largemouth is one cost, bluegills are another cost. And we have to work out how to get the numbers.
To make I would make a change to my recommendation would be to make a change to this. Motion. To have those numbers by our next meeting in January. And then January, you could make, once we have the numbers, you could make that
Yeah,
motion.
the guy that does the treatment is the guy that has a contact.
Right.
It's one of his people, so
Okay,
he could give us prices.
Yeah, we had prices once, remember?
Yeah.
About,
But it's been a year.
of course,
so
fish
do
food's gone.
you understand where?
Yeah.
Okay, so do you want to change, can you change that motion? to-
Okay, I guess, well, the motion would be to,
To get a quote.
to have an pending PO open for fish stocking in April. Beginning of April for fish, once we get a bid on pricing of different species, then we'll come out with a total number. Or a total amount of dollars we can spend.
So essentially, it's a motion to get a quote. For
For the
the
bid.
price of the stocking.
And we gotta see how much money we had from last year. And how much it is this year and, come up with a number, total number.
Second. I'm second.
All in
All
favor?
Yes.
Opposed? Motion passes.
Alright.
Now we'll go on to sand loading storage devices. They're moved by you. I know that's an issue over there.
The issue arose because of a neighbor putting it out in the middle of the lake, and the neighbor has moved it in much closer to their shoreline. I don't see any point in pursuing it. Right now. They do.
I'm hoping that as the lake is showing progression, that eventually they'll maybe remove it or.
Well, actually, this is a fountain.
It's a, yeah, it's a fountain.
Oh, it's not, it's not a barrier. Oh.
No,
Oh,
the barrier is the next one.
Yeah,
Oh, boy. So the fountain's
Yeah.
not going,
Yeah,
but
the
they put
fountain-
it, but they
well,
put the
put it
fountain on there.
within their-
barrier
Yeah.
lines.
yes,
Yeah.
yes,
It's close.
been moved, yes,
So,
well. It's measuring tape, and we got the exact, but it's
Alright,
acceptable.
okay, all right, so that's, are we all good with that?
yeah, I think that can be eliminated from future
Yeah.
consideration.
We'll do that. Do we have to make a motion for that, John?
Oh, yeah.
To remove
Well, no,
it?
no, because you could just remove it the next time you make the agenda.
Okay,
All right, now let's move on to F on barriers.
The barriers still exist. And where I live, there are three.
There's now more, it seems, right?
I don't know.
There's
I thought
yellow,
they agreed to-
there's yellow, there's blue, and there's green.
No.
He was here, he said he was gonna remove it if we did something, and
Yeah,
Mm,
and I'm not sure how to proceed, whether it's just a general nudge. Hey, what about your barrier? You know, the lake is looking pretty good. Can you remove it? And see what happens, rather than being more forceful and demanding and telling them.
oh, code enforcement.
I don't know what kind of code.
We can make a motion to code enforcement to address it.
It again revolves around their riparian rights, what they're able to do on their riparian rights. I think
I-
their consideration. Are there other ones though, in addition to the three, to define the
think-
scope of the
I think
issue?
it's just.
It's just in that
there.
corner over there.
Since it's my corner and Marcelino's. How about you and I try and figure a way to nicely, whatever. Speak to them about their barriers and. Have you any considerations of removing them now that you've seen the lake quality? We've been through the summer and. The problem that was there the year before, you didn't have this year.
Mhm.
Because I remember the guy with the green one, the yellow one, said if he didn't get algae this year, he was gonna remove them. Remember he said that?
Yeah.
But still there.
Well, maybe give him some time. maybe
Bring him a
just-
cake or something.
A bottle of scotch, maybe.
Yeah. Yeah,
Soften him up a little bit.
but the guy that was here, doesn't he have the blue one?
Yes.
The Spanish guy's got the yellow one.
Right.
And then the other guy's got
We should,
the blue one.
I think we should, before we start doing the whole. I think maybe give him-
Yeah,
maybe give him another 6 months and see.
Or try and define it, you know,
Or try, yeah.
if you don't like it now, at what point would you say?
Right, correct.
Yeah.
You did it for this
Hey,
reason.
I have an idea. Why don't we organize a? Remember like we did that lake meeting over at Maddie's house
Yeah.
one day?
right.
Maybe one day we organize a lake meeting with the lake guys and to talk about the lake and then we can bring it up there. You know,
I think if we can get one of them to crack a little bit.
Mhm.
And use it to the other one and say, if
Yeah.
this guy wants to do it, how about
Yeah,
you?
who's the
try it?"
weakest link?
well,
No.
the biggest one is the one by next to your neighbors.
Yeah,
Yeah.
These two houses.
yeah, they got double, that's right, it's
That's
two
right.
houses.
That's right.
Okay, let me-
And I feel that I can communicate with them enough where they would be the first ones I would approach.
If you can crack the big one, we can break.
how about this, if I make a motion to, that code enforcement look into see what regulations or violations or whatever are these barriers have, you know, on the lake. And they'll give us some footing to stand on where, hey, we can't do anything, it's just the guy or the town can say, no, you gotta remove it.
I don't know if it could be a motion because, you know, I'd have to work with public, public works and see if that's something that we could do. So I think what I can
What
do
I'm
is,
saying is it a violation? of
right,
any
that's,
kind?
I have to look into that. I have to look to see if it is a violation. If it's not a violation.
Well,
If it is a
that's what I'm saying.
violation, then from there we can, you know,
Right.
we can.
I'd like to
enforce it.
have code enforcement look into it to see if it is a violation or.
Seems like every meeting.
That's what we had asked of Jeremy to consult with the town attorney,
Yes.
who opined that he didn't know.
Well, I could look into that tomorrow when I see the town attorney and once.
Yeah,
I forget his name, he's a younger guy. That's my
Right.
recollection.
Don't we have a beautification committee? In my Lakes?
Yeah,
You do.
Okay, so if that's not beautiful to our eyes, is that eyesore kind of thing? Can somebody make a complaint or something?
I mean, you could make anything a complaint. It's just as far as how.
you have to from the
enforce it.
beautification committee.
The
I
complaint,
mean, I don't disagree.
Well, if you bring it to the beautification committee,
right, but even then, they
It's
can't,
your property.
it's their property. How can we enforce that?
You can have an ugly color house. but
Yeah.
How much?
If I if I decide to paint my house pink, no one's gonna like it. I might like it, but can you enforce me changing the color?
Well, some
So-
towns have to prove the color.
Well, that's like.
Miami
Yeah.
Lakes is that way.
It is,
Yeah.
that's correct.
Oh, it was-
So yeah, again, I'm gonna look into it. I'm gonna speak to both the town attorney and code enforcement and see what is.
Their
What-
jurisdiction on.
What jurisdiction do we have?
Well, yeah, we've gone down that road and we didn't get clarity on the answer to that specific question, which is why I'm suggesting to Marcelino that because he and I live there, we take a soft
Right,
approach.
right.
And if that doesn't work, then
Yeah.
come back.
Well, you can do
What else
that.
might
We're
be
just
done?
getting
Well,
information.
yeah.
We're not gonna take an
He's
action.
not gonna do anything, he's
But
just
we-
gonna
we
get
tried,
the.
we didn't
get it.
I know, well, he's got.
Same guy, different.
If
Yes,
we,
but I
if
don't
we
know.
do that soft approach and it doesn't work,
Yeah.
and then. You know, they go after him with something, then they're gonna be pissed off at us.
Exactly, well, that could be. I mean, we're serving here and we're subject to having rocks thrown at us for any number of things.
Well, I mean, I don't see it from my house, but I'll defend
Yeah.
you guys, cause I don't, next thing you know, my neighbor has it.
Yeah, I know, I know.
This is public record, so if he watches, he'll know that you guys.
Yeah.
Very true.
That's
Very
true.
true.
I
So-
mean,
Okay,
So
so just can you
Yeah.
follow up on
On
that?
my
see
end,
if
I'll
you
follow
get a
up with
different
last-
answer, because the first,
absolutely,
there was no answer really the first time
Right.
it was asked.
Yeah.
He really didn't know.
And I know that the last time you said we wanted info from the town attorney, but if you can also through code enforcement, also find out some of their stuff too. That would be great.
Now, would you need a picture of the barriers?
it would help, it would absolutely help, so if you guys could send me a picture before I go ahead and present this, that way I have something to actually show them.
Dan, do you have a picture?
No,
You need a, what do you call it, a drone.
Yeah.
Okay.
it doesn't have to necessarily be a close picture, but just something. And I don't know,
I was thinking,
yeah, this is something that I can,
Well, maybe the guy that treats the lake has a nice picture.
When I send you these things, I'll send you a couple of photos.
sounds good.
I mean, those barriers look like, you know, when the Exxon Valdez spread the oil, you know.
That's right, they used to retain.
Yeah.
It might be on Google already.
Yeah,
Could be on Google.
If you give me the more location, more or less, maybe I can find it on Google Maps,
Yeah. it's
from
fine.
the top.
just send them address.
it's just north,
Depends on
north.
when the last time was Google did
Yeah.
that. I've looked, that's so long ago.
Want to move on to test results? The test results, that's
It's there,
this is the one we kind of went over.
Yeah.
But this was only on Hilda, and it was because someone made a complaint.
that is the pH testing.
Correct.
This is the test results
Oh, okay.
for the bacterial testing that you guys did.
They're concerned. And we, were. The high levels of bacteria that we have. And you guys have the same exact levels. And it doesn't say where it was done, where the sample was taken, it says site one, do you know what that is?
I believe based on this, site one would be Lake Hilda and site two would be Lake Patricia.
Right,
No,
but the lake is, yeah, but.
All the exact
lake
location
is very large.
that I would not, I'd have to follow up.
Unless it's from the
Right.
picture, and they did it from there.
Well-
The first picture looks like it's from the school, feature of the school. Doesn't fly.
Right,
You know, ours is
from
from
Miami Lakeway
the
South.
beach, right next to the beach. too. Well,
Yeah, the ducks and the iguanas don't help that.
What's that, the people?
Yeah, well,
Well, we only have 10 and Lake Hilda has 1240. Unless something is wrong there. Do you see what says people form, Lake Village only has 10? And, and Lake Hilda has 1240.
Ours are very high, very concerning. What can be done about that, John?
Huh?
You're supposed to be addressing it with a check with any ads or for cracks or.
I'll have to discuss it with
Yeah, we need to find out, what do they recommend to get that
Yeah.
under control. It's very, very high.
And you gotta find out where he took it,
if you want, you can make a motion for me to actively search for recommendations.
Yeah, to correct
Based
the
on-
situation, based on the results of the test.
Good idea.
If you want to go ahead and make a,
Yeah, yeah,
you have to actually say it.
okay, yeah. Motion to determine the correction to the high levels of bacteria in Lake Hilda,
The people form.
Or both, I'm sure she wants to.
or both, because we both have bacteria. So
Second.
both lakes.
Second,
Sam second, all in favor?
Yes.
Yes.
On favor.
Opposed?
it's like
Motion
double
passes.
what it should be.
H,
If
serve.
if we look at the observations, it says that the coliform level can increase since the previous testing. Well,
With the time of year, have anything to do with any of that, to make it worse?
It's a little long, well, no, actually, Hilda was in October and ours was in August. So ours was actually in the hotter months.
yeah,
I mean, it was hot, pretty much hot here though.
I mean, I thought we talked about, I know we talked about this, about that collection and those samplings to be from different
Area.
areas, not just
Right.
one.
Right.
Because you know, the
Supposed to be in
ducks
three
hang out
areas.
on the shore. So if you go to the shore and lean over, you're likely to get the duck dropping stuff.
Especially.
Right.
Right?
They do it right off the
So,
beach there.
right, especially on the beach, right? Versus, okay, maybe one there, maybe one in the middle, maybe one somewhere else.
And so that's
That's
something I
what they're
could,
doing.
I could
No,
talk to
that's
them.
what he's supposed to be doing.
That's what I thought, right?
What I may suggest is maybe with these pictures, actually like maybe some sort of flag that he can put where like floating flag of where he's taking the sample and take a picture of that. So we have
Yeah,
An
that'd be nice.
idea,
actually an idea of where
No,
the
that's,
samples are coming from.
That'll be
Right.
good, so that we know and, to just.
I
try
mean,
different areas.
yeah,
Make a motion?
Is there make a motion for that one?
yeah.
I mean, I can just,
Giselle, is it sufficient to do that?
I'm sorry.
Isn't her motion sufficient enough?
Yeah,
to do
yeah,
that?
yeah, exactly.
yeah, we can.
Sufficient to cover it. But that's something that I'll go ahead and ask and look into because I think that way we could determine actual points and maybe. Maybe I could even put them on a Google map. It's the actual points or have him do
Yeah.
it on the Google.
Yeah,
So that
in
we-
more than one location.
Yeah, no problem.
I like their presentation. It's very useful, concise information.
Yeah, this is not the first time they did.
Yeah, no,
They're
this is-
pretty good about this,
Yeah.
which I like that, I mean. Thank God, because we had issues with them down before you got here,
Yeah.
we almost cut them off
Yeah,
for a couple of things that they've done. So I'm glad that they kept their,
And I'll be sure to request these when possible for upcoming meetings as well.
these things, yeah. Go on to H, survey results.
Yeah, I don't.
Survey was
yeah,
the right track, wrong track, which you guys already went over. That was one of the things that I had mentioned to remove from.
That's right.
We had like nobody responded.
right. We had asked people.
Oh, for
Yeah.
feedback.
For
Okay.
feedback about how we were doing as a committee.
Okay.
Right. So remove them.
You could, I mean, we didn't remove it, so we could just move forward.
Yeah, I would eliminate that.
All right, new business. The voting, you said, John, you were in touch base on.
Yeah.
on the new councils.
So council voted to or approve a new format on capital improvements. Prior, it was anything. I believe it was anything above, I want to say, 15%. Needed a vote. Of the budget, needed a vote by the straw ballot. They changed it now to anything that is a capital improvement. Anything at all that is a capital improvement would be voted by you all, would go to council. Then council would put it to a vote by the community. By the neighborhood services.
Can you give us like an example, like if we wanted to do the aerators?
If you wanted to do the aerators. If you wanted to do the fountains or statue, whatever the case may be, anything that's not currently existing.
Correct.
Would need a capital,
So
would need to be voted by the
We'll
entire.
do it here and then you send it to them
It goes to council,
and then it gets sent to the.
it would be sent to the community.
Yeah, but
For vote.
this is a taxing district, so why would
Yeah, I
Loch
think we're all
Lomond
different.
vote
No,
on my
no.
taxing
No,
district?
no. Only your community,
Only the.
Oh,
residents
only
of the-
Lake Hilda and only Lake Patricia.
I got you.
And it would be separate, like if you only vote for something for Lake Hilda, then it would be, you understand what I'm saying?
So would it be the 72 homes
Well-
around the lake or?
Correct.
Or everybody in Lake Patricia?
It would be
It'd be the taxing district.
the taxing district, which would be the 72 homes around.
Right.
Right. So keep that in mind when making capital improvements.
And
Now, that
how-
does not include anything that is a something that's already existing. So let's say you already had an aeration system and you wanted to replace it. That's not a capital improvement. If you want to change companies, if you want to change from Solitude to someone else.
That's not.
For
it's
Lake
already
Maintenance,
exists.
that already exists, so that's not
Yeah.
that's a replacement, not a capital improvement.
Now, I question, and it might be a dumb question, but, let's say Lake Patricia has 72 homes in the taxing district. Let's say all 72 approve of something, but Hilda, are we separate still? Will they take that number, or what if all of Hilda's opposed?
What if they, you know,
I believe that well, no, I know, you are two separate,
two
Okay.
separate
Taxing
taxing
districts.
districts, yeah, that's,
I
so
wasn't sure.
yeah.
the voting would be separated. But you could vote for the same thing, but if only one lake approves it, only one lake gets it.
I got
And do I understand correctly that the voting, the ultimate decision of the voting is townwide?
The ultimate decision maker is the council. What the changes, now it goes from you, the advisory board, to the council, to the community, back to the council. Does that make sense?
Mhm.
And the
Before it was-
community-
before we
the
go
community
from
is
you-
our-
Is-
Right,
is
before it would just go from you,
taxing district.
the board, to the council. They would make the final decision, it would go through. Now it goes to the community to make a vote, and then the final decision is ultimately still the council.
And is the vote to the subdivision a formal vote? Is that?
That we don't know yet, that's still being decided as to how they're gonna how the voting is gonna take place is still being decided. But it's already been decided that. And by the way, capital improvement of any number could be 1 cent.
And that's what I was gonna ask you, is there
Yeah, 'cause before it was
amount
50.
to capital improvement?
Yeah.
Just anything,
It's
So anything that is already in place will stay.
anything that's already in state, that if you change anything that already exists, if you were to. I don't know, to give an example, if you decided to change, like what we discussed right now of a aeration proposal.
No, the fish stock,
Or the fish stocking, that's not a capital improvement,
oh, okay.
because that's
it's
already,
already been in.
you've already done fish stocking in the past.
New.
Right, if you changed this, if you added more sand or whatever to the beach as an example. I don't know if that falls under, I have to follow up, but I don't think so. But I'm just trying to think of something that would be
Just-
an
Capital
existing.
in the business world, those are more permanent. structures, assets that have a longer life. Is what you would categorize as a capital.
In this case,
expenditure.
it's anything. That-
What I
anything
have
that
in
is
mind
the-
is not directly connected to the lake. But it was something that was thrown a few years back without asking the community, the speed bumps.
Good point.
Well, that's the issue that they're talking about because of that emergency.
And they are already there.
Resolve
Is
the
there
issues in the
any
guard
hope
house.
that they could be removed?
What are we referring to?
Speed bumps
Where?
in the streets.
Well, those,
Townwide?
those
In
were
many
like
places.
ours on Alamanda. We got two of them. All we
It's
did was
Cypress,
go
Cypress.
to the mayor and to them and complain, and they said, yeah, okay, we'll put them in. It was just that simple.
We have to.
Right, yeah, we
Well,
were
that's
speed-
another-
and we were surprised by.
That's the
That-
only reason I did too.
The speed bumps, I do want to keep the conversation on the lake itself. As far as speed bumps, I can't really talk too much on that, but just so you know, going forward. Keep that in your mind whenever making any decision as far as capital. Okay, and once I have more information for you. On how the voting process will take place, whether it's mail-in or whatever the case may be, I will get back to you on that as well.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, and we'll move on to B and then the scheduling.
Scheduling, so right now, I have it set up where you are the second Thursday. Of every quarterly month. At 7:30.
I think Sam wanted to change the time, right?
Yes.
Yeah, we
6:30.
can make 6:30.
So the reasoning behind that is because, one, there's a lot of different committees out there. So there's very limited slots available as far as times. The reason I chose these times for not just you, but the other NSDs was based on the meetings that you guys had prior. And from the previous 2 to 3 meetings that you had prior, they were all at 7:30. So that is why I had kept it at 7:30 for you guys. And there's a meeting that would come prior to you guys. That would be at 6. Now, I could talk to that advisory board and see if they're okay with moving back to 7:30
Are
and
you
switching with
sure
you
at the
guys.
last few meetings, because we had an issue about a year and a half ago, 2 years ago, about switching our time to 6:30, and we.
I know that the meeting that you had in March, was at 7:30.
That may have been.
Well,
moved.
can we change it
and-
on Thursday to Wednesday or Friday?
I was gonna say, anything except Friday. Friday stinks, but Monday through Thursday, we're okay.
So again, the problem is the limited amount of space available.
Yeah.
Because of the other committee meetings. And you gotta, we're gonna be meeting quarterly. But other ones meet monthly. They're, the committee meetings are meeting monthly, so they have theirs set up every month on Wednesday at 6, every month, Wednesday at 7. So tried to make it work based on the times that were available.
So is there
Um,
any way, looking at your schedule, is there any way that you could put us at a 6:30 slot any other day of the week?
Friday would be available. And so that's the trouble. Friday's full, Friday's pretty clear, if you guys.
Are you drinking margarita?
Um.
Wednesdays are not.
At the ale house?
My one thing that I would just like to remind you is, we're only meeting once quarterly. We're gonna have a meeting in January. We'll have another meeting in April. So they're not too often to the point where it's one day out of every certain amount of months to make it work. But again, I will go ahead and talk to the advisory board that's set up prior to you guys and see if maybe we can switch.
Yeah, is the time slot of Friday such that if you canvass us and we're not gonna have a quorum, that there's an available slot the preceding Friday or the subsequent Friday, so that you can juggle the Friday, so it's not exactly on the third Friday of the quarter?
So we have to, the one thing I want to make sure is that in order to have better communication with the residents, is letting them know ahead of time that these meetings are upcoming. So I want to make sure that we're uniformed in that sense. If we need, just from a perspective of just following order, or, law and order, or whatever, is we want to make sure that we're providing this information at least 2 days prior. Okay, so if you needed to change it, hypothetically, yes, we could change it 2 days prior, if something became available, we can do it. But that would be going away from providing people information well in advance so that they're in the know. Understood. So I'm not saying we can't change it. I could look at the schedule right now and see what is available, just if you give me a moment.
No, that's fine. I just, like I said, I'm not, whatever, I know that maybe that last meeting, for some reason, that had to do with maybe something conflict because of Jeremy and Christina not being here.
Right.
But I know that for sure that we were always a 6:30 slot. And it's, no one spoke to us about, like, why aren't we the ones that's got that slot? You know what I mean? Like.
It's kind of hard because everyone's gonna want 6 o'clock or whatever the case may be. It wasn't like, I didn't pick any favoritism. I just
No, I
went
know.
based off the previous meetings that were set up. I didn't, I didn't take into consideration who would want what,
Right.
because if I did that, everybody would want 6, and then, understood. Give me one moment. Let me see if I can find it. But I do hear what you guys are saying. Yeah. I want to make that clear.
No,
understand.
I understand. I just, we had this issue about a year ago because we had a couple people around the board anymore that liked the later ones. And when they stopped being part of the board, we all came together and said, hey, we'd like to, and, because. And I get it, everybody has their thing, but.
One nice thing about the time for tonight's meeting is that we're running beyond when we might otherwise run if it was a 6 o'clock meeting.
Yeah.
There's probably people coming in at 7, and whether you
Well,
or not, you gotta get
A
out.
few times, we had to wait for them to finish, we
Right.
had to wait like a half hour.
So
Right.
to give you an idea, there's first Wednesday of every month, there's one set up. Or that's taken at the 6 p.m. slot. Third Wednesday of every month is taken at the 6 p.m. slot. Fourth Monday is taken at 6 p.m. slot. Third Monday is taken at the 7 p.m. slot. So I could go down the committee list and tell you based on their schedules, those slots are already taken. So it's just kind of trying to fill in what's available. If you guys want to change it to Friday, I have
No,
No.
Friday is
Is
just.
there other locations that they have meetings or everything just right
everything,
here?
everything would be here, yeah. And the reason for that is because we're set up
Oh,
already
that's right, yeah.
for,
Let me ask you this, John, since
Yeah.
what's done is done. I mean, these things are. And I don't know how we could do it, but.
we're
it's
only
not
set up
fair.
until June of
Okay.
2024.
Okay, so at
So
that time, can we like?
absolutely, I could rotate them, I could rotate everybody
I'm
and
okay with that.
and do that. And we don't have to make a motion for that or anything.
Okay, well,
I'll
that's
just-
what I wanted to know.
Now that you've voiced your displeasure for
Right,
for the
right.
time slot, I will obviously take into consideration
Thank you.
for the future, but again, it wasn't anything
No,
intentional.
I know, I know. I know.
It's finding what's available and
We'll bite the bullet first.
Yeah.
Next year we'll go around.
Yeah, and just so you know, there's 2 meetings going on. I have the 4 NSDs. I have 2 NSDs that are on Monday. And I have 2 NSDs that are on Thursday. You were one of the ones that fall on Thursday. The Monday one is also another one at 7:30. So there's another, so you're not
No,
alone.
that's fine, that's fine.
But I will go ahead and obviously take that into
Sure.
consideration when I do the scheduling the
Thank-
next time.
All right,
Again, if you guys tell me you want to switch it up, I will be more than happy to. We'll have to change the whole way we have it set up. It won't be, we'll have to. change them, we won't be able to set them up in advance. We'll have to like see if something opens up or whatever the case may be. If that's what you guys
Kind of
prefer,
what we were
I'm,
doing Before, it was just kind of arbitrary, right?
I mean, for a little
It
while,
wasn't structured,
right.
we had it just.
yeah,
Towards the
I
end,
just
but
structured it.
Christina, Yeah,
It was
Yeah,
just
I structured it, so if you wanna go back to non-structured and we see what's available and what we can, that's your call.
the only, I mean, maybe it was my fault, the non-structuring, only because, when I'm on duty, I'm on duty,
Right, right,
But
right. That's
it is
true,
what it
that
is.
was one.
and we had issues with quorum before, but.
That's
it-
part,
it
that's
is what it
also
is.
why I wanted it structured, is because now if everyone knows in advance. You have time to plan for these meetings.
Right, so the next one would be.
So is it January, April, July and October? The quarter being 4 times a year? Is it 4?
Right, correct.
So it would be the second Thursday,
Jan-
January, April, July and October.
Right, but it's not set up until, I haven't set up for October
Oh, yeah, just through July.
through July. So
Through
the
July.
last one, I believe, is July 11th.
So if you look at,
And as a matter of fact, the way it's set up is, because it's set up the way it is, every time it falls on the 11th of the month.
oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, same thing with the Mondays schedules. So you'll have January 11th, April 11th,
July.
July 11th, all at 7:30. Easy to remember, easy to follow, easy to plan for. And you get to hang out with me at 7:30 on Thursday. So what more can you ask for?
Just till 2024. Until 2024.
Just until July.
Just until-
July.
All right. Okay. The motion to
Jordan,
adjourn.
second that motion.
All in favor?
Okay.
Hi.
All right.
8:58 p.m.
Thank you, John.
John,
Of course,
nice to meet you finally.
absolutely.